Shalom. My name is Sam Wilson. I'm the Director of Global Outreach at International Board of Jewish Missions, and I come to you today to give you an update on the situation in Ukraine right now. I've had personal experience. I spent 14 years serving in Moscow, Russia, and extensive time living and traveling in Ukraine as well. And so this situation is one that cut close to the hearts of all of us who have served over there. As I'm sure you know from watching the news, Russia has attacked Ukraine from many directions at once. One of the primary attacks is attacking out of the north, out of both Belarus and out of Russia, cutting down, trying to take the city of Kiev, the capital, to decapitate the political leadership of the country. At the same time, further to the east, there's a major attack going on around the city of Kharkiv. Kharkiv is the second biggest city of Ukraine, 1.4 million people, situated just 20 miles from the Russian border. There's also attacks going on from the south, attacking out of Crimea and from the Black Sea against Mariupol, Melitopol, Kherson, and soon to be, I'm sure, Odessa. And so much of Ukraine is in desperate condition right now. And I'm convinced you've seen that, and so I won't go into the details about all of those attacks. We need you to pray. There are great needs there. Some members of our team were able to evacuate and get out of the country. Some of them are back in their home countries, for which we thank the Lord. One of the members of our team is a gentleman named Igor and his wife, Julia. They lived in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Tragically, when the thing started, Julia was in Kharkiv. Igor was all the way at the other end of the country in the city of Lviv. And so they were separated. There was no good way to be reunited. After several days, Julia realized that the Russian forces were moving in on the city, were about to surround the city, and the city was under heavy attack. And she and other members of her extended family decided to break for it and try to get to the relative safety of Western Ukraine and reunited with her husband, Igor, both of whom served with us in the ministry. She embarked with family members, 3 vehicles with a bunch of family members packed into them, trying to cross over 650 miles of war-torn Ukraine to get to relative safety and back to her husband. I don't know the details of the journey, but I know that it was through a war zone, that the roads were choked with refugees, that there was no dependable availability of gasoline, that there was danger at every turn of running into enemy forces. After 3 days of absolute hair-raising journey, Julia and the family were able to make it there. They are now in, like I said, the relative safety. That means there's air raids, but there's no ground armies in the city of Lviv. And so we thank God that they've gotten through with great danger. Another family that serves with us is Vladimir and Irina. They're in a city 55 miles south of Kiev. And once again, the city they're in there are no Russian ground forces at this moment threatening them there. Their ground forces are focused on Kiev and the other cities, but they're suffering regular air raids. I asked them the other day, do you have food? They said, we have food for a week. I said, can you get more? And they said, well, there's no food in the stores. And so they are safe at this moment. Safe is probably the wrong word. They're okay at this moment, but they need our prayers. There are people who are not serving with us, but who are very close friends of ours. I've preached all over Ukraine, and we have so many dear friends there that are suffering. I'll give you just a couple of examples. You're looking at a picture of the Saltivka neighborhood of Kharkiv. It's a neighborhood in the city of Kharkiv. And as you can see, it's been shelled and it is burning. It looks like a ruin. This is the neighborhood where an IBJM missionary, a single lady from South Carolina named Rachel, serves. She is not there right now. The people that she loves, the people that she ministers to are there. She's in constant touch with them. One of them, Lena, is telling her, I will not leave. I will stay. And Lena is going everywhere, witnessing about Jesus Christ to everyone that she meets, serving the Lord in spite of that. She told us a story about a basement. They have to meet in the basement because anywhere above ground, you're going to be under artillery fire. And there's a meeting going on every evening in the basement. 2 pastors are gathering with whoever shows up, and people are coming and they're preaching the gospel. And so in the midst of this terror, the gospel is being preached. You're now looking at a picture of Mark and his wife Lydia. Mark's an American guy. His wife Lydia is a Ukrainian lady, a Jewish Ukrainian lady. They serve in the southern port city of Odessa. There was reported on the first day of the war, amphibious landings from Russian ships in the Black Sea into Odessa. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I think they must have been driven off. Odessa remains Ukrainian right now, although also suffering air raids. Mark has said he will not leave the city. And he remains there. Their church is open to the community, serving the community, both to their physical needs and to the spiritual needs of that community. Without question, if the Russians are successful, they will make taking Odessa a big priority. Please pray for this dear family and for their church. Finally, I want to mention to you, the city of Kiev is under terrible attack right now, and we have many friends there. Alexander is the pastor of a Baptist church there in a neighborhood of Kiev called Obolon. You may have heard that name mentioned because for the last several days there's been heavy fighting in Obolon. Their church is in Obolon. Some of the members have fled to the countryside to get away from the fighting. Pastor Alexander has said, I will not leave. He moved out of his apartment. He's moved into the basement of the church and opened it as a bomb shelter. There are now 60 people, mostly elderly and children, living there in the bomb shelter. And again, he's preaching the gospel and meeting the physical needs of these people. And they're holding out, though possibly being overrun at any moment by Russian forces and the city above them, being bombed and in flames. And so all over the Ukraine, there's great needs. These are just a couple of examples, folks. There's multiplied at times hundreds, times thousands. There's great needs there. And we beg of you to pray for Ukraine, pray for peace, pray for these people who are suffering so. Pray for our brothers and sisters in Christ. Many people are calling and saying, is there anything we can do to help? Yes. The first thing you can do to help is pray that God would intervene. But other people are saying, we want to help financially. And certainly there are going to be great needs. IBJM has set up a Ukraine relief fund. And if you would like, the address will appear on the screen. You can send a check to us for Ukraine Relief Fund, and we will make sure it gets to people who need it there in the Ukraine. Please join us in prayer. This is a dark hour for Ukraine. Frankly, it's a frightening hour for the world. But you know what? Our God rules, and He's sovereign, and He's on the throne. And we believe that He will bring us through this, and we can trust Him. And so let's keep our eyes on Him and trust Him and pray for the people of Ukraine. Thank you.